Canada's farms must now produce in greater abundance the foodstuffs required for the war demands of the United Nations. To meet these demands will tax the resourcefulness of Canadian farmers. Steel and other materials for ships, for planes, for guns, for tanks, for mechanized units and other armaments are required in such great quantities as to make it impossible to provide all the new implements that farmers may require in their greater production program. Purchases of new farm machinery will be controlled to make sure that it will go where it is most needed. Every effort, therefore, must be made to get greater use and longer service from the equipment now in the hands of Canadian farmers. Farmers themselves can do much by taking better care and by making needed repairs to increase the efficiency of their machines. Nothing plays more havoc with farm machinery than to leave it unprotected to the ravaging forces of weather. Rust pits plow bottoms and cultivator points and weakens working parts to the breaking point, while wood parts check, warp, and decay. Wiped with an oil-soaked cloth or smeared with grease, the life of metal parts is prolonged and they're left ready for instant service for next season's work. Working parts need a protecting cushion of oil to prevent excessive wear. Well-lubricated machines run easier, save repairs and expense, and give longer and more satisfactory service. Oil often and make sure the oil gets to the bearing. A good and proper grade of lubricating oil should be used and changed according to instructions. Tires should be kept properly inflated. Underinflation greatly shortens the life of a tire. Rubber is precious and must be saved. In long idle periods, weight should be taken off the tires. Even in the very busy seasons, time taken to check over machines carefully is well spent. More work can be done in less time with a machine that is kept properly adjusted and in good working order. Bearings and washers should be inspected and replaced if badly worn. All loose bolts should be tightened. Canvas should be cleaned off when harvest work is over. Canvases should be neatly rolled and stored in such a way that mice cannot get at them. Tables should be cleared of dirt and straw. Chaff and dust attract moisture and cause rust, so should be removed at the end of the season. Whenever possible, farm equipment after finishing a season's work should be housed under cover in a shed or barn to avoid harmful effects through long exposure in all kinds of weather. Fertilizer, if left on or in a drill, hardens like cement and is extremely difficult to remove. Also, the acids in fertilizer quickly corrode metal parts, making them unfit for use. A thorough cleanup job on machines handling fertilizer saves trouble and expense. Worn chains should be replaced. Badly worn sprockets ruin chains. Always make sure sprockets are lined up correctly to prevent excessive wear. Steel roller chains should be taken off frequently and washed in kerosene to remove dirt, grit, and old oil. After they have been well cleaned, a fresh application of oil will keep them in good working condition. Wartime conditions necessitate a special care of rubber belts. They should be run at proper tension to prevent stretching and breaking. When not in use, they should be removed and stored. The cutting knife should be carefully examined to see if there are any badly worn or broken sections. New sections should be put on where necessary well in advance of the season of use, so that the knife will be ready when wanted. Broken, bent, or loose guards cause delay and inconvenience during the busy harvest season. All guards not in good order should be replaced so that the cutting mechanism will be in condition to do its work effectively. Wise is the farmer who prepares his harvesting machines months in advance of the coming season. Spare time in the slack seasons can be used by the handy farmer to great advantage in the implement shed or farm workshop. Worn or broken sections on mower, binder, or combine knives can be knocked off and new ones put in their places. Guards that are no longer fit for use should be removed and replaced by ones in condition to do their work as it should be done. Looseness and play at the inner shoe of the mower is a sign that the hinge pin has become worn. Taking out the pin so that it may be examined as necessary, and this can best be done in the shed or shop where needed tools are handy. Bright surfaces on the old pin show that wear has taken place, due possibly to the lack of proper oiling. The old pin is discarded, a new one is inserted, and so another source of trouble is eliminated. The pawls in a mower are the means by which the power is transmitted from the wheels to the gears. Worn pawls reduce the power delivered to the knife, and cutting is slowed up. This is particularly troublesome each time a start is made. Some farmers are ingenious in discovering simple little devices for doing the awkward things easily and smoothly, such as holding the pawls in place with a piece of string until the wheel has been put back on. Then, with a tug at the end, the string is withdrawn. Today, the average farmer well appreciates the importance of checking over the various units of his tractor with an eye to keeping it in first-class working shape. No one thing can be more detrimental to the life of a tractor than an oil filter that is plugged with sludge and carbon. The cooling system should be checked over, and you should see that the fan belt has proper tension. And the radiator and motor block should be drained and flushed, particularly if the tractor is being put away for the winter. Chaff and dust interfere seriously with the passage of air through the radiator, reducing its cooling efficiency. Therefore, see that it is kept clean. You should also see that the dirt extracted by the air cleaner is removed. Nothing responds more to a little care than a battery, and batteries must last longer these days. Corrosion reduces the flow of electrical energy, so terminals should be scraped and brushed clean. The level of the acid should be above the plates. If the tractor is to be laid up for any considerable period, spark plugs should be examined and oil squirted into each cylinder. Turning the motor over a few times with the ignition switch off will distribute the oil over the cylinder walls and piston pins. Everyone now knows the importance of keeping tires at the pressure specified by the makers. Check the pressure regularly. And when the tractor is to be stored for any lengthy period, take the weight off the tires. Under the difficulties of wartime conditions, wise indeed is the man who early takes the precaution of providing himself with the parts he may require to put his machine in ideal shape for next season's work. He will find the implement dealer with time to deal with his problems, and in many instances able to give much helpful advice, apart altogether from the more important consideration that he will have the chance of finding him with ample stocks, or at least lots of time to bring them forward. Agricultural authorities throughout the country have been and are urging farmers to get their repairs well in advance of seasonal requirements. Farmers generally have been wholehearted in their cooperation, recognizing the difficulties arising from heavy demands upon transportation and the problem of providing ample supplies where needed. You too should see to it that you order your repairs now. Implement dealers too are equipped and prepared as never before to repair and rebuild used equipment so that it may give full wartime service. Here, for instance, is an old binder which has been brought into a dealer. He decides that the only way to bring it back into useful service is to rebuild it. Many a machine that would in pre-war days have been consigned to the scrap heap is being salvaged in this way today to make up for the shortage in new production. In the process of dismantling, we get a better idea of the actual worn-out condition of its important working parts. In this old binder, the pinion shows more wear than the bevel gear. When either the bevel gear or the pinion need replacing, both should be replaced at the same time, or the worn gear or pinion will quickly ruin the other member. This is important to remember when replacing any part that works in conjunction with another. As he proceeds to rebuild the machine, new pinions and gears and various other important working parts restore the binder to practically its previous high efficiency and prepare it for many more years of useful, trouble-free service. The knotter and binding attachment on a binder are its most important mechanisms, and the bill hook being replaced here is perhaps its most important member. Years of experience in repairing machines give him the required knowledge of the things to watch and the adjustments to be made to put it back in first-class shape. But even so, he subjects it to certain tests to make sure that it operates perfectly. The knotter and binding mechanism are given actual tying tests. When the binder is reassembled, each of its parts has to be carefully and properly aligned for smooth and easy working, and the elevators are squared to assure that the canvases run true, so that they may work freely and avoid excessive wear. And with a coat of paint, the old binder assumes new importance, and it goes forth to make up for the lack of new binders caused by the curtailments of production owing to the demands of war. Mower bars are speedily rebuilt in the shops of many implement dealers. Here the bar is being stripped, ready to be straightened and renewed. The trained eye and hand of the expert works wonders. Old ledger plates are quickly removed from the guards and replaced with new ones. The cutting efficiency of many a mower which has been doing its regular job each haying season would be greatly increased by the insertion of new ledger plates. New ledger plates make a world of difference in the operation of an old mower. Knocking out old rivets and putting in new ones is easy if you have the right tools and a suitable place to do the work. Old guards that are good enough to be used again in the rebuilt bar are pointed and polished to help in penetrating heavily matted growth, and then the job of reassembling begins and the guards are bolted on. New sections are put on the knife back to replace the broken or badly worn ones, and the knife back is straightened. There is an art to the straightening and lining up of the bar and knife. The man who does this work must have a keen eye and a fine sense to put the bar or knife in perfect shape. And when passed by the eagle eye of the expert, it is almost as good as when it first left the factory. To take care of the increased demand for tractor service and to keep old tractors on the job, augmented service departments are ready to repair and rebuild according to the highest standards, equipped with the most up-to-date machines for the various operations requiring the close limits which the precision of tractor construction demands. It's little wonder that this tractor motor wasn't working as efficiently as it should. Gummed up as it is with dirty grease and sludge, it could hardly be expected to function properly. But here is the machine that makes quick work with its special solvent compound of removing the dirty mess, leaving it clean as a whistle. Now the mechanic has a chance to see the parts and make a first-class job of his work. In these well-equipped shops, the right tool for every job is ready to hand. Closer fitting valves, such as result when the valves and seats are ground with tools made specially for the job, prevent loss of power and make for the most economical operation of a motor. Babbited bearings can be properly line bored to exact size to ensure that they fit the crankshaft journal perfectly. Gears have to be pressed onto shafts, and the job is well done when a machine with 50-ton pressure is brought into action. In those tractor motors where the cylinder sleeves are removable, the taking out of worn sleeves is easily accomplished with a sleeve puller. Scored or worn sleeves are a great source of loss in power and excessive oil consumption. On motors with cylinders cast in block, the reboring has to be done to exacting limits, and for this they also have specially designed equipment. This electrically driven machine is clamped in position and the tool set to the measurements required by the oversized pistons to be installed. The boring is done with the same precision as in the most up-to-date motor manufacturing plant. The cylinders rebored, they are then honed to a smooth glass-like finish. An idea of the high polish is given here in the reflections from the finished cylinders in this block. Gauges of all kinds are used to test the exactness of the work done, and with a feeler gauge the mechanic tests to see that the piston has just the exact clearance specified. In the final checkup of the rebuilt motor, the vacuumeter tests the valve action and enables the inspector to make the correct carburetor setting. While the tractor is in the shop, many farmers desiring added weight for better traction take advantage of the opportunity to have calcium chloride put in the tires. Air is added to bring the tire to the correct pressure. Once again, remember it is important to check regularly and maintain correct tire pressure. The old tractor, renewed within, is made to look like new in appearance as it receives its coat of paint applied in the modern way. Imagine the thrill of this farmer as he sees the transformation that has been wrought on his old tractor. He drives off as pleased as he would be with a new tractor, conscious of the fact that this is the only way he could have obtained anything approaching a new tractor. Thus have the farmer, the dealer, and the implement manufacturer cooperated to make up for the shortage of new farm machinery and contributed greatly in making available materials required for the tremendous production of armaments. Thus, in many ways, is agriculture playing its part in furthering Canada's war effort. For with machines well cared for and repaired and rebuilt, farmers are ready to carry on their operations despite the difficulties that may be ahead, with the assurance of never a hitch. Farmers are providing the foodstuffs required at home and for the armed services and the civilians of those nations who, with us, are fighting for the freedom we hold so dear. Linking the farm fields with the battlefields, the farm forces with the fighting forces in the onward surge to victory.